All right, everybody, let's dive into something really interesting today, hairdressing. We're taking a deep dive into what it really takes to be a hairdresser assistant. And you know what? You've brought some really interesting sources to the table, especially with RoleCatcher.
Absolutely, yeah. It seems like you're really trying to figure out if this is the right path for you. And honestly, you couldn't have picked a better resource. They've got everything from career guides and interview tips to, get this, insights into how AI can actually help you land that dream job.
It's wild, right? I mean, AI and hairdressing, who knew? But it seems like RoleCatcher's really on top of it. Their guide, for example, it breaks down what a hairdresser assistant actually does day to day. And it's not just about shampooing hair.
Yeah, it's way more than just shampooing. One thing that jumped out at me right away was the emphasis on customer service. I mean, they mention it constantly throughout the guide, even when they're talking about technical skills and stuff.
Which makes total sense when you think about it. You're interacting with clients all day long, even as an assistant.
Exactly. You're often the first point of contact, right? You're
Yeah.
building rapport, getting a feel for what they're looking for, setting the tone for their entire salon experience.
It's like you're the brand ambassador, even at that level.
100%. And that focus on, as the guide puts it, personalized service and those people skills, that's huge. It reminds me of this study I read recently about how crucial emotional intelligence is in service industries now. It's not enough to just have the technical skills anymore. You have to connect with people on a human level.
That's fascinating. So even someone starting as an assistant, they're already developing skills that could apply to so many other careers down the line.
Precisely. Now, let's be real for a second. This job isn't all about glamorous makeovers and blowouts. RoleCatcher gets into the nitty-gritty, the long hours, dealing with demanding clients. And yeah, let's face it, that starting salary might have you considering a side hustle or two.
They definitely don't sugarcoat it. But to be fair, they balance it out with the perks too, like having a creative outlet, flexible schedules, and of course the potential to really climb that career ladder. Speaking of which, I thought the career stages section was pretty cool. It shows how you can go from like, okay, sweep the floor to potentially managing a whole team.
It's true. And what I found super helpful is that they don't just talk about it in some vague way. They actually give concrete examples of what someone's resume might look like at each stage. You start with shampooing, assisting with color, then you move on to things like applying highlights, maybe giving scalp treatments, even consulting with clients on styles and products.
So you're not stuck just shampooing hair forever. You're constantly learning and building up your skill set. They even mention how you can specialize down the line, whether it's in coloring or extensions or even something like textured hair care, which is a whole world in itself.
Exactly. And of course, with specialization comes the potential to earn more, to build your own loyal clientele, and really make a name for yourself.
For sure. But before you become the next big name in hairdressing, you've got to nail that interview, right? And luckily, RoleCatcher has a whole section dedicated to that, even getting into some of those tricky behavioral questions. I'm talking, how do you handle a difficult client? Or tell me about a time you had to deal with a tough stylist kind of
Oh,
stuff.
absolutely. And it's not just about giving some canned right answer. It's about really showcasing how you think. Like, for example, if they ask about a difficult client situation, thinking about how you de-escalate the situation shows them you've got problem-solving skills, even if you haven't faced that exact scenario in real life yet.
It's about showing them you can think on your feet, which in a fast-paced environment like a salon is absolutely crucial. But what really blew my mind was how RoleCatcher uses AI to actually help you practice those answers. They have this feature where you can record yourself answering common interview questions, and then it gives you personalized feedback.
That's the crazy thing about where technology is going with the job market now. It's like having a personal coach in your back pocket. But even if you're not applying to be a hairdresser assistant, just understanding a job's skills profile through tools like that, that's valuable for any field out there.
Seriously. It's like having this secret weapon, especially in today's job market, which can be, a little intimidating.
Hmm.
But let's zoom out for a sec. Based on everything we're seeing in RoleCatcher, do you think becoming a hairdresser assistant, like, is it actually a good move for someone?
If you're truly passionate about hair, I'd say absolutely. It's a field with so much potential, especially for someone who loves working with people, thrives in a creative environment, and isn't afraid of, putting in the work.
And who's ready to learn? Because it seems like continuous learning is a big part of it. RoleCatcher even mentions some industry certifications, like becoming a certified colorist, that can really boost your earning potential.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just about knowing the latest trends. It's about really mastering new techniques, understanding different hair types, maybe even getting into the science behind hair care.
Right. Like there's this whole world within hairdressing and it's always changing. And speaking of changing, we got to talk about social media. I mean, it's huge in the beauty industry, wouldn't you say?
Huge is an understatement. It's
Yeah.
practically its own universe at this point.
Totally. And this isn't something RoleCatcher really got into, but I'm curious, how do you think aspiring hairdresser assistants can use platforms like Instagram or TikTok to their advantage?
Oh, it's essential these days. Even before they step foot in a salon, they can start building a portfolio online, you know. Think before and after photos showing off cool braiding techniques, or even just sharing their passion for hair care.
So it's like building a personal brand and maybe even a client base before you've officially started your career.
Exactly. It's about showcasing your creativity and your eye for detail to potential employers. And for clients, it's a way to get to know the person behind the chair to see if there's a good vibe.
It really is like you're networking, but online. It's the new way to build those connections.
And it's not even just about showing off your skills. It's about building relationships, right?
Yeah.
Like actually engaging with potential clients, answering questions, being present in those online hair communities.
So it's not even about getting that first job at that point. It's about like creating your own opportunities, maybe even becoming a brand ambassador for someone or starting a mobile styling business down the line, right?
Absolutely. It's about leveraging all these tools and technology to really create your own path in an industry that's like constantly changing and evolving.
Okay, so for anyone listening right now who's like feeling that little spark, that pull towards the world of hairdressing, what would you say is the one key takeaway you want them to remember?
Honestly, do your research, explore like every corner of this industry, and don't underestimate the power of combining those traditional skills, the hands-on stuff, with the tools of today, like social media and those online platforms like RoleCatcher.
It's like you've got the roadmap and the toolkit all in one place. You've given us so much to think about. Thanks for diving into all this with me.
My pleasure, honestly. It's always so great to see someone excited about exploring a new field.
And for everyone listening, thanks for sharing your research with us. Remember, whether you're considering like a whole career makeover or you just love a good deep dive into something new, we're here for it. Until next time, stay curious.